Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome to a news update. Today we're going to be talking about the Hurricane and also character creation. We've got some other news as well. Now we've seen a new ship come into the fighter lineup. It's actually classed as a heavy fighter even though it's quite lightly armoured. The reason it is actually classed as a heavy fighter because of the weapon loadout that it's got. The Hurricane is about the same size as the Hornet and the Gladiator. So that should give you a good idea of what ships you can carry the Hurricane in. I would class this ship as a high output with low durability, so lots of firepower, but not a massive amount of armour. One area the Hurricane does differ to something like the Hornet is the Hornet has the ability to swap out the centre module for cargo, exploration, scanning, and a few others that will be coming later on down the line. The Hurricane is a dedicated fighter. It doesn't really have that option, and there's no plans in the pipeline to alter that. So if you're thinking about getting a Hurricane in game, then you really need to take that into consideration. If you solely want to do fighting, then this could be the ship for you. Now the Hurricane has a manned turret as well. You can put an NPC in there or another player. Alternatively, you can lock them guns forward and use them. Now I understand in the current build of Star Citizen and what we play so far, the manned turrets are definitely not performing how they should be. Star Citizen are fully aware of the issues that we're having with the turrets. At the moment the turrets are very, very difficult to aim. And I think the plan, as far as I can see, and they've mentioned in a few posts now, they are planning to improve them turrets. So a player would be better than an AI, and also using them as slave, having a player there would be a better option. Obviously we're not currently there yet, but that is the plan. Some of the things that they're going to implement to help with that, they're going to make it so there's more displays and more information in the turrets, better targeting system so the gunner can actually lock missiles as well, which would be good, and also the gunner will get more feedback on the damage of the ship and also the damage of the weapon as well, alongside obviously better targeting computer, which will help you aim as well. So going back to the Hurricane, although it does have a manned turret, once again you can lock it, but ultimately later on down the line, if you work well as a team, it will benefit you having someone sitting in that seat, no doubt. So how do you expect yourself playing this ship? It's designed obviously as a heavy hitter with light armor, so what you probably want to be doing is picking your targets, isolating targets that are sitting on their own, attack, fly away. I'm expecting the weapons and the heating system to overheat on the basis that it does have some heavy firepower, so the concept of shoot and scoot to cool down and picking your targets is definitely going to be key here. Alongside that, you could work in a platoon or a squadron or even bigger, and then pick targets, bigger targets than yourself, and swarm it and attack it and do the same thing over and over again. If you want to have a more detailed read on the Hurricane, I've left a couple of links in the description, firstly part 1 and part 2 of the Q&A, and also you can take a look at the ship stats page as well. Now whilst we're on the topic of the ship stat page, over the past months we've seen a lot of changes to the hard points of a lot of the ships, and also the in-game mechanics change slightly on the way that the hard points work. There is a lot of data on the ship stat page that is incorrect. You want to sort of do a little bit of research to make sure that you're getting the right information. There are plans in the works at the moment to overhaul the whole entire ship stats page, not just the stats themselves, but the actual ship system, the viewer, the matrix. So you'll probably just have to hold fire on that for now. Moving on to the character creation side, Star Citizen have updated the current stock CryEngine Lumberyard engine to give it a sort of a wider flexibility on customization. The default customization was pretty primitive and pretty basic, and it didn't really offer Star Citizen the full versatility of what we actually demand as thousands and thousands of players. Keeping in mind that there will be hundreds and hundreds of AI as well, and you certainly don't want them looking all the same, and at the same time, if Star Citizen was to handcraft every single one, then that would obviously use a lot of resource and bring in a lot of delays. What they've decided to do is to use the current ship item port system, so use it in the same way but with the character models, not just on the actual visual look of the body but also on the clothing and armor layers as well. From what I can see, there's 3 layers. The first layer being your clothing layer, so that's like normal clothes, jeans, shoes and so on. The second layer being your EVA suit, and the third layer, which you can add on top as well, which would be armor. Alongside this, you will be able to add items to the layers as well, and that also includes externally as well, so like putting grenades, weapons, handguns on the exterior. Keep in mind, what's been shown so far is definitely the first release. So we're probably going to be seeing many updates to this over the period of time. So what will you be able to edit on the face? What they're doing is going for a sort of modular system in the same way with the clothing and outfits. You'll be able to swap out nose, eyes, hair, facial color, all the sort of normal stuff. I'm definitely happy with this. From my point of view, I believe that they really need to focus on the clothing and attachments more so. I've played a lot of MMOs in the past and you could spend hours and hours making this fantastic face that looks absolutely brilliant. But in reality, the majority of the time, you're probably going to be wearing a helmet anyway and no one's going to see. It's important to have a massive variety in clothing and the ability to change them clothing, because you're more than likely going to identify someone from their physical look from their clothing than you are from their face. And I think even if you spend a lot of time making a fantastic face, can you actually identify that person in a game from medium to short distance? Possibly. I think you're more likely going to be able to identify them by the clothing they've worn, the customization they've done. So I think that it is really, really important for them to give a quite in-depth customization, particularly in colors and materials and outfits, so thousands and millions of players can make ourselves look different from a clothing point of view. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing people running around with maybe they've picked the same stuff as you. I think that that's key. I think from my point of view, I think that the clothing aspect of it and the armor layers and the attachments, I think that is really, really important. Also, last week at GDC, Amazon had a booth there and Star Citizen were in that booth as well. If you in the Boston area, PAX East is running this Friday. Chris and Gerard are going to be there and some of the community team as well. It's worth probably going because you get to meet them, and secondly, they're going to be handing out some goodies as well. And the final thing on the agenda today, guys, if you're looking to join a Star Citizen organisation, check out the link in the description below. That's it for me, guys. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.